What if the most successful people you know aren't the ones with the fewest fears, but the ones who write their fears down in more detail than anyone else? Today, we're breaking down a TED Talk by a man who wrote one of the best selling books of the decade. And by the end, I want you to be able to answer this. What does Tim Ferriss call the exercise he uses to make big decisions? Listen closely. The answer's coming. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today's episode is built around Tim Ferriss's TED Talk, Why You Should Define Your Fears Instead of Your Goals. If the name sounds familiar, he wrote The 4 Hour Work Week, and he also hosts one of the most downloaded interview podcasts in the world covering health, performance, and self improvement. This talk is about a technique called fear setting. And along the way, we're going to pull out some genuinely useful intermediate to advanced vocabulary, a few natural expressions, and a couple of great phrasal verbs too. So let's get into it. Before we get right into it, though, let's talk about what this talk is actually about. And I'll define a few useful words right as they come up so you understand everything in real time. Ferriss opens with a personal story about a trip to London that went completely wrong. He describes it simply. He says, I felt completely trapped. Trapped. That means feeling like you have no way to escape a bad situation. Instead of staying stuck in that feeling, he turned to an idea from Stoic philosophy. This is a technique the ancient Stoics used to prepare for hard times and adapted it into a written exercise he calls fear setting. Here's how it works. You make a decision you've been avoiding, asking for a raise or ending a relationship. Maybe it's quitting a job, starting something new. And you write it out across 3 columns. The first column is called define. Here you list in detail the worst things that could realistically happen if you go through with it. He suggests 10 to 20 possible outcomes. So there's no holding back. That phrase, no holding back, from the verb to hold back, means being completely honest and not restraining yourself. The second column is prevent. For each of those worst case scenarios, that's our next phrase, worst case scenario, meaning the most negative possible outcome of a situation. So for each one of these worst case scenarios, you write down what you could actually do right now to make it less likely to happen. And in the third column is repair. And this is if the worst case scenario happened anyway, what would you do to fix it? Who would you call? What's the actual recovery plan? So Ferriss's argument is that once you've written all of this out in detail, the fear usually shrinks. To shrink here just means to become smaller or less intense. Because a vague fear or unclear fear feels huge, but a fear you've already mapped out on paper in great detail, and to map out means to plan or lay out something in detail. So once you've mapped out that fear on paper, it usually feels manageable. He does this exercise regularly, not just once, and he uses it for big life decisions. And his core message is this: the things we're most afraid to do, ask, or say are very often exactly the things that we most need to do. So, a little quick tangent here. Why does this specific topic matter for your English? Maybe it's obvious. Because so many of you have told me that the biggest barrier to speaking is nothing to do with grammar or vocabulary at all. It's fear. It's fear of making a mistake. It's fear of sounding silly, fear of being judged by a native speaker or others, and that is exactly what this talk is about. I also know about this. I live in another country. I'm Canadian. I don't live in Canada anymore. I live in Greece. I can speak Greek now, but I'm still learning. And there's still that fear that creeps in sometimes. That fear that I'm going to make a mistake. Somebody's going to laugh. Somebody's going to say, why don't you know how to say this? What's wrong with you? And I'm going to be honest, I haven't tried Tim Ferriss's trick yet, but I'm going to. And I'd like you also to give it a try. Let's try it together and we'll talk about what were the results. Did it help? Did it make us more brave? Did it make us feel more confident? Now, here's the thing. You can use fear setting on this exact fear, what we're talking about. Fear of speaking English or another language in public. Define it. What's actually the worst thing that happens if you mess up a sentence in a real conversation? Someone doesn't understand you for a second. You repeat yourself. That's it. That's all that really happens. So prevent it. How do we prevent it? We practice with low stakes conversations first, like this podcast, before a high pressure one. And then repair it. If you do freeze up, what are you going to do? Maybe you just laugh and restart your sentence and keep going. What feels more comfortable for you to repair it? So once you map that fear out in detail, the way Ferriss describes, speaking suddenly feels a lot less scary. And you're far more likely to put yourself out there. In theory, remember, we're both going to give this a try. I haven't tried this yet. To put yourself out there, that means to take a risk and expose yourself to possible judgment or failure in order to try something new. And that's really the whole goal of this podcast. Not just understanding English when you hear it, but getting comfortable enough to take the leap. To take the leap means to finally take action on something you've been hesitant about and actually use it out loud. Now, let's go a little deeper into how he actually uses this. In the talk, Ferriss walks through real examples from his own life. Decisions he was avoiding, like ending a business relationship or dealing with a stressful legal letter. And he shows how mapping out the worst case, then the prevention steps, then the repair plan, made each situation feel far less overwhelming than it did in his head. Overwhelming. Great word. This means something so intense it's hard to manage or cope with. He also points out that we tend to focus only on the potential downside of taking action while completely ignoring the cost of doing nothing or the cost of inaction, meaning the negative consequences of choosing not to act. So staying stuck, staying unhappy or stagnant for months or years. Stagnant, another great word, means not moving forward, stuck in the same place for too long. That's a key part of his argument. Inaction has a cost too. We just don't measure it in the same way. So next time we go out there and we're about to take a step forward in speaking to native speakers or others in the language that we're learning. To avoid self-paralysis or freezing up, this is what we're going to do. We're going to define the fear, we're going to write how to prevent it, and how to repair it, should it actually happen. Now, before we wrap up, let's round up everything we covered today. We had trapped, feeling like you have no way to escape a bad situation. No holding back, a phrasal expression. Being completely honest and not restraining yourself. Worst case scenario, an expression. The most negative possible outcome of a situation. To map out, phrasal verb, to plan or lay out something in detail. To shrink, a verb used figuratively, to become smaller or less intense. To put yourself out there, expression, to take a risk and expose yourself to possible judgment or failure in order to try something. To take a leap, expression, to finally take action on something you've been hesitant about. Overwhelming, adjective, so intense it's hard to manage or cope. The cost of inaction, expression, the negative consequences of choosing not to act. Stagnant is an adjective, not moving forward, stuck in the same place for too long. And finally, self-paralysis, freezing up, unable to move forward. All right, and remember the question from the very start. What does Tim Ferriss call this exercise? Do you remember? If you answered fear setting, you got it right. Now, the original TED Talk, it's linked in the description below, and I highly recommend listening to it. I really enjoyed it. And I also have a link for the full transcript of today's episode, and it's free on my Substack with all the vocabulary and expressions that we talked about today. Let me know which word or phrase you're going to try using this week. And also, let me know if you're going to give this a try. I will definitely be giving it a try. And maybe we can talk together about our progress in overcoming fear. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel and it allows me to keep on giving you more English content to bring your English to the next level. And maybe send it to a friend who might enjoy this as well. So keep practicing, keep pushing yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.